Just down underneath there we have got our female, Aya, who is 6 and a pretty recent addition to us here at the zoo. She joined us in September and we do quite slow introductions with our animals. So first of all, we have them in 2 different sides of the enclosure so they can get used to each other's smells, and then we slowly start to introduce them for a few hours at a time. Now, Banu and Aya were so fond of each other when they met for the first time, they refused to ever be parted again. So it was very easy to introduce the 2 of them, and they've been pretty much inseparable ever since, which is very nice to see indeed. Now, I mentioned these are Asiatic lions. Often people go through this enclosure and wonder why we have decked it out to look like India. We hear all about African lions. We very rarely hear about Asiatic lions. So they used to roam right up to the European border. Sadly, they can now only be found in Gujarat in India and nowhere else in the world. Even though they are a critically endangered species though, they are an excellent conservation success story. Not too long ago, a few decades back, there were only 12 Asiatic lions left out in the wild. So they were very, very much on the brink of extinction. They have been the centre of many conservation projects, including many from us here at ZSL. We have a vet team out in Gujarat to look after any sick or injured lions, and we help to support the forest guards that patrol the area to protect the lions. And their habitat has been increased to 3 times the size it used to be, so that protected area is much larger. And because of that, their numbers have risen from 12 to over 550. And we have all of you guys who are here today to thank for that. Some of the money from your tickets goes to our conservation projects around the world, including with our Asiatic lions. So thank you very much for supporting projects like that. Now you might be wondering, other than location, what is the difference between an African and an Asiatic lion? Well, first of all, their pride size. So as you've probably seen with African lions, they travel around in great big prides consisting of many, many individuals. Asiatic lions travel around in really teeny tiny groups. So you're normally going to see a maximum of 5 individuals in an Asiatic lion pride. There are also some physical differences as well. Asiatic lions are a little bit smaller. They also have a flap of skin on the bottom of their tummies that the African lions do not have. But the biggest difference is probably with the lion's manes. Now, Banu here has a particularly large mane for an Asiatic lion, but even with him, he doesn't have much mane around the top of his head. On the wall here, you might see a picture of an Asiatic male out in the wild, to the left-hand side of those 2 pictures. If you look at that, you will see Asiatic males have a really tiny mane, particularly around the top of their heads. They've barely got any fur, and you can normally see all of their ears poking out. Whereas African lions, the boys have great big bushy manes, which often will cover some, if not all, of their ears. But something that both African and Asiatic lions have in common with pretty much all other types of cats is they like to sleep. Asiatic lions will sleep for up to 20 hours a day. This isn't because they're lazy, it's because they are conserving energy for when they are ready to go out on the hunt. So when they are hunting their animals, they have very short bursts of energy. They can run very fast, but they can't sustain this for a very long period of time. So they actually have nice padding, nice cushioning on the bottom of their feet to absorb the noise, so they can tiptoe as close to their prey as possible until they are ready to pounce. Now with our lions here at the zoo, when we feed them, we don't just offer them their food on a plate. We like to encourage all of their natural instincts that they would be using out in the wild. So we change up the way we feed them every time we do it to try and keep it nice and fresh and interesting for them. Sometimes we'll hang their food on a bungee cord so it's moving up and down. Sometimes we'll put it down on a zip wire so they have to chase it. Sometimes we'll do a little scatter feed and hide food around their enclosure so they have to sniff it out. And in fact, smell is very exciting to a lion. They love to smell new things. It doesn't even have to be food related. Any new smell is exciting to a lion. So scent enrichment is something we do a lot. So we put new smells in their enclosure. This can be anything from herbs and spices. In particular, they love cinnamon. If Aya gets a toy with cinnamon on it, she is a very happy lady. And even things like perfumes. So around Christmas time, when people get lots of perfumes they don't really like, they often donate it to us. And we can spray that around their enclosure and they get very excited, particularly if their favourite comes out. Banu, his favourite is Old Spice. Aya's favourite is Chanel No. 5. So they get some very exciting scent enrichment, and even when it's not feeding time or scent enrichment time, we give them other toys, enrichment toys to play with, just like you might do if you've got pet cats at home. In there, that lamppost, you might notice, is actually a giant scratching post if you look closely enough, very similar to ones you might have at home with your cats. And we give them enrichment toys like this. So this is a ball, a Puma ball, that has been in with our lions. They have played with it. As you can see, they have got many claw marks and scratch marks and teeth marks in there. This ball is 10 times stronger than a human skull. So you can see how much damage they can very easily do to a toy like this. So they are very incredible pets indeed. So I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about Asiatic lions and seeing our lovely Banu and Aya, of course, having a rest in the warm sun. If you do have any further questions, do feel free to pop over and ask. If you want to take a closer look at this, please pop over as well. Otherwise, I hope you'll have a lovely